At 2:17 in the morning, my phone lit up on the bench while I was elbow deep in the engine bay of a 1998 Chevrolet Camaro. Grease was packed under my nails. The last sip of bourbon still sat warm in my stomach. The blue screen cut a bright line across the dark garage. Message: I am at Derek's place. Pick me up by 3 in the morning or we are finished, Tom. I stared at that line until the screen dimmed. 22 years married, and my wife, Lauren, gave me 43 minutes to crawl. I typed back one short reply. We are finished. The satisfaction lasted 3 seconds. Then a colder feeling settled in. Not the kind that makes you swing fists and break drywall. This was the quiet kind. Heavy. Icy. It whispered plans instead of curses. I wiped my hands, walked to the laptop I had left open for parts orders, and signed into our shared cell plan. Location services were still on. A small blue dot pulsed at 1247, Riverside Drive, apartment 12B. Derek Lawson's place. Derek was a personal trainer and a fitness influencer. The sort of guy who lived for mirror shots and called them motivation. I had met him twice at neighborhood cookouts. He flexed his way through talk about protein shakes and maximizing your potential. Lauren always laughed a little too loud at his jokes. Now I knew why. Lauren never changed the password on her laptop. It was our anniversary date. I opened her contacts and scrolled until I found what I needed. Kayla Brooks, Derek's fiancée. I hovered a moment, then forwarded Lauren's live location and added a plain note. Thought you should know where your man is at 2:30 in the morning. You deserve better. A friend. I hit send, closed the laptop, poured another bourbon. Then I sat in the garage and let the silence tick by. The yelling kicked off at 3:47 in the morning. I could not make out the words from inside the house, but I did not need to. The pitch told the whole story. High, frantic, with a thin line of panic I had never heard from my wife. Car doors slammed. Engines barked. Tires squealed against the asphalt. By 4:15, the street went quiet again. I was brewing coffee when the front door key turned. Lauren stumbled in. Mascara streaked her cheeks. Her hair was wrecked. A suitcase dragged behind her like it had been stuffed in a hurry. Tom, she said, voice thick with tears and, from the smell, wine. We need to talk. No, I said, watching the coffee drip. We really do not. You do not understand. Derek and you are over. I leaned on the counter and looked her in the eye. I am guessing Kayla made that plenty clear. The color left her face. How did you know where I was? The same way I know you have been lying to me for 6 months, I said. The same way I know about the hotel receipts you tried to delete. The same way I saw the joint gym membership you figured I would never notice on the credit card. Her mouth opened, closed, then opened again, like a fish pulled out of water. The difference, I said, taking a slow sip, is that I am not dumb enough to think I can talk my way out of this. Tom, please. It was a mistake. Derek was just what? Accidentally inside you, again and again, for months? She flinched like I had slapped her. Get out, Lauren. This is my house, too. It was. I set the cup down carefully. You made your choice at 2:17 this morning. Live with it. She tried tears first. When that did not move me, she tried fury, lawyers, alimony, how I would never make it without her. I watched the show and thought about how everything with Lauren had always been a production to get what she wanted. Not this time. By sunrise, she ran out of steam, grabbed her suitcase, and headed for the door. She paused and tossed one last line over her shoulder. You will regret this, Tom Carter. You have no idea what I am capable of. I smiled. Neither do you. The door slammed hard enough to rattle the windows. I went to the front room and eased a blind. Mrs. Whitaker, our next-door neighbor, was already posted at her window with her phone up, recording for the neighborhood Facebook group. Lauren stood on the lawn in yesterday's clothes with her suitcase at her feet, looking around like she was seeing the street for the very first time. She pulled out her phone. I could read the posture, calling Derek. From her face, he did not pick up. She tried again, and again. I poured a second cup and watched my wife of 22 years realize she had nowhere to go. Monday morning at Carter Auto Repair looked like any other, except for the grin on Randy's face when I walked into the bay at exactly 7 o'clock in the morning. He slid out from under a Honda Civic, wiped his hands on a rag, and flashed the gap where his left canine used to be. Well, he said. If it is not the most talked about guy in Bangor. Randy had been with me 8 years. ever since he walked out of the state prison up in Shawshank on an aggravated assault charge. Best wrench I ever hired. Also the only guy on my payroll who would call me out when I needed it. Today he decided I needed it. Good morning to you too, Randy, I said. He kept grinning while he wiped his hands on a shop rag. Mrs. Whitaker uploaded a real interesting video to Facebook last night, he said. Already pushing 300 comments. He did not have to spell it out. Something about Lauren Carter taking a very public walk of shame, he added. I started the coffee the same way I had done for 15 years. Scoop the grounds, fill the reservoir, flip the switch. Ordinary motions on a morning that felt anything but ordinary. People need hobbies, I said. Oh, they have one, Randy replied. Talking about your life is the new town sport. He stood up, his knees and shoulders popping like bubble wrap. Frank down at the Naughty Pine says he has never seen a Sunday night like it. Standing room only. Everybody wants the real story. The Naughty Pine Tavern sits on the corner of Main Street and Elm Street. It is our unofficial union hall for anyone who earns a living with busted knuckles and treats their liver like it signed a waiver. Frank Kowalski has owned the place for 3 decades. In that time, he has heard every rumor, secret, and half-truth banger could cough up. If the Pine is discussing it, it is already public record. And what version are they passing around? I asked. Depends on who is doing the talking, Randy said. The church crowd says you are a saint for finally drawing a line with that woman. The younger folks say you are a jerk for embarrassing her where everyone could watch. His grin stretched wider. But everybody agrees on one thing. What is that? Derek Lawson is as dumb as a sack of hammers for stepping out on his fiancée in a town this small. That same cold satisfaction slid through me. The same feeling I had when I sent Kayla that pin drop. Speaking of Derek, I said, his car's still in the impound. Yep, Randy said. Tow truck grabbed it Saturday night for unpaid parking tickets. Funny how fast those stack up when nobody is minding the meter. He put on an innocent face. Not that I would know anything about anonymous tips on illegally parked vehicles. Of course not, I said. The bell over the office door chimed. I looked up and saw Brittany Wells strut in like she signed my checks. Lauren's best friend since high school. Teaches yoga at the fancy studio downtown. The kind of person who treats every sentence like she is playing to a camera. Right behind her came Amber Lee, Lauren's co-worker from the medical supply company. Amber already had her phone out. The lens was up. Everything is content for Amber. Tom, Brittany said, pouring on the fake concern. We need to talk. No, we do not. Lauren is devastated, she said. She cried all night at my house. Frankly, I think you owe her an apology. I looked down at the work order I was filling out, then back at her flawless makeup and designer leggings. I owe her an apology? She made a mistake, Tom. People make mistakes. That does not give you the right to humiliate her in front of the whole neighborhood. I did not humiliate her, I said. She handled that part herself when she decided to sleep with an engaged man. Amber lifted her phone higher to catch the audio. I could see the little red record light. You are recording, Amber, I said. I hope your followers enjoy a clear discussion of your friend's adultery. Color climbed into Amber's cheeks, but the phone did not drop. This is ridiculous, Brittany snapped. Lauren loves you. She always has. Derek was just. Just what? I asked. A 6-month oversight? A mistake that included hotel rooms, a second phone, and lies to my face every day? Brittany's mouth opened and closed without making a sound. Here is what is going to happen, I said, setting down my pen and giving them my full attention. You are going to turn around, walk out that door, and not come back. You are going to tell Lauren that if she wants her car serviced, she can take it anywhere that is not Carter Auto Repair. And you are going to stop pretending 22 years of marriage is worth less than 6 months of sneaking around. You cannot speak to us like that, Amber said, finally finding her voice. I just did. Randy stepped up beside me. 6 feet 3 inches. Arms crossed. Prison had taught him how to look dangerous without raising his voice. Ladies, he said, polite as a banker. You heard the man. They left without another word, Brittany's heels ticking hard against the concrete. Through the office window, I watched them huddle by Brittany's car, heads together, plotting the next angle. Think they will try again? Randy asked. Probably, I said. But not today. The shop phone rang. I let it roll to voicemail. It rang again. And again. Popular guy, Randy said. When the line finally rested, I played the messages. 3 hang-ups. 2 local reporters asking for a statement, and 1 furious voicemail from Derek Lawson. "Tom, I know what you did," his voice snarled. "You think you are clever, but you have no idea who you are dealing with. This is not over." I saved the message and forwarded a copy to my email. Evidence is evidence. The rest of the morning ran quiet. A few of our regulars rolled in, dropping off cars and pickup trucks for oil changes and brake jobs. Nobody said Lauren's name. Nobody said Derek's either. Still, I caught the looks, like they were trying to decide if I was the guy who got wronged or the guy who went too far. Around noon, I decided I needed a beer and a little distance. The Naughty Pine was a 5-minute walk from the shop, and Frank Kowalski keeps the taps cold and the rumor mill hotter than a welder's torch. For a Monday lunch crowd, the place was packed. Every stool at the bar was taken, and most tables were full of people who should have been at work but chose fried clams and town gossip instead. Conversations thinned when I stepped through the door. Maybe 20 faces tracked me as I moved to the last open stool. "Look what wandered in," Frank said with a weathered grin. "The man of the hour." "Bud Light," I told him. He popped the cap and slid the bottle over. "Heard you had company at the shop this morning." "News travels," I said. "Faster when it is spicy," he said, lowering his voice. "For what it is worth, most folks say you handled it right. Woman steps out on her husband, there are consequences. And the rest. They think it should have stayed private. Family business behind a closed door." I drank and thought about that. Hard to keep it private when the other man's fiancée deserves the truth. Frank nodded, then straightened as another hand waved for service. "Watch yourself, Tom. Hurt animals snap, and you hurt 2 of them." I finished the bottle, set a 5 on the bar, and walked back to the base. Frank was right. Lauren and Derek were cornered now. Reputations shredded. Whatever they had between them already burned. People in that spot do desperate things. I was counting on that. Tuesday morning brought the first full-blown showdown. I was turning the key in the front door when a Ford Mustang screamed into our lot and stopped hard enough to chirp the tires. The car had come out of impound the night before. By the look on Derek Lawson's face, the 3-day delay still stung. He came at me like a man with a mission, gym chest puffed up, fists clenched. Lauren climbed out of the passenger side and hovered near the fender, smaller than I had seen her in years. "You think you are clever, do you not?" Derek shouted, jabbing a finger at me. I finished the lock, turned, and faced him. "Clever enough. You wrecked my life," he said. "Kayla threw me out. The gym fired me. Half this town calls me a predator." "You are a predator," I said. "The kind that hunts married women." He stepped in close. I could smell the cologne and see a vein jumping in his forehead. "You do not know what you are talking about." "I know exactly what I am talking about." I pulled out my phone and opened the folder of screenshots I had saved from Lauren's laptop. "Want me to read some of your messages out loud? I have a few that would spice up breakfast." His color drained. "You cannot. Those are private." "Privacy ended when you made it my problem," I said. "They are evidence now." I looked past him. "Morning, Lauren. You look worn out." "Tom, please," she whispered. "Can we talk like adults?" We did. Yesterday morning. You chose Derek. I chose dignity. Derek moved between us, chest tapping mine. "Do not speak to her like that." "Or what?" "Or I will make you regret it." The threat sat between us like exhaust smoke. He had the edge, bigger, younger, tuned like a race car. In a fair fight, he probably wins. Good thing I was not planning on fair. "You want to know your problem, Derek?" I said, holding his stare. "You think this is about you. You think I am mad because you slept with my wife. I am not. I am grateful. You did me a favor. I spent 22 years married to a woman who believes the world spins around her. You helped me see that clearly." I felt the smile on my face and knew it was not a friendly one. "What you were too slow to grasp is that you were a toy. Shiny. New. Something to keep her busy until she got bored." "You are lying," he snapped, flushing red. "Am I? Then why did she text me at 2 in the morning instead of staying with you? Why did she have nowhere else to go when Kayla tossed your clothes on the porch? Why is she standing behind you right now, not beside you?" Doubt crept into his eyes. The first crack. "She used you, Derek. The same way she used me. The difference is I finally stopped playing along." He swung. A big, sloppy haymaker you could see coming from a block away. I slipped to the side and let his own momentum carry him past me, then gave him a little nudge that sent him thumping into the side of his Mustang. "That is assault," I said evenly, loud enough for the bystanders in the lot to hear. And I am saying it in front of witnesses. I tipped my chin toward the street where Mrs. Whitaker stood on her porch with her phone up, recording the whole scene. I hope your attorney is better than your right hook, I said. Derek straightened, his face twisted with rage and shame. This is not over. Yeah, it is, I told him. I held up my phone so he could see the screen. I have video of you throwing the first punch, audio of you threatening me, and enough proof of your affair to sink you in court. You want to keep playing? He looked at the phone, then at me, then back at Lauren. The fight went out of him like air leaking from a punctured tire. Get in the car, he told her. She hesitated, eyes bouncing between us like she was weighing something heavy. Lauren, I said. Last chance. You can stop this right now. Apologize. Mean it. Maybe we can find a way through. For a heartbeat. I thought she might choose 22 years of marriage over 6 months of new and shiny. Then Derek called her name again. She walked to the passenger side of the Mustang without looking back. The car launched in a haze of hot rubber and bruised pride. I was still standing in the lot when Randy rolled in for his shift. He glanced at the black arcs burned into the asphalt. Looks like I missed the show, he said. There will be others, I said. That afternoon my phone rang. Officer Danny Lane. We had worn the same high school colors before he chose the badge and I chose the wrench. Tom, we need to talk, he said. About what? About Derek Lawson filing an assault complaint against you. I laughed once. He swung first, Danny. I have the video. I figured, he said, but I still need a formal statement. Can you come down to the station? I spent 2 hours at the precinct walking through the morning step by step with Danny and his sergeant. They watched Mrs. Whitaker's porch video 3 times. They listened to my recorded account. They played the threatening voicemail Derek left the day before. Self-defense, the sergeant said at last. Clear as day. But, Tom, be careful. This kind of thing escalates. I am not hunting trouble. Maybe not, he said. But trouble is hunting you. Derek has friends in this town. People who think you humiliated him. Your wife has friends too. I thought of Brittany Wells and Amber Lee and their morning performance at the shop. What kind of friends? I asked. The kind who might bend the truth if it helps their side. Watch your back. I drove home with his warning rattling around in my head. Lauren and Derek were hurt and cornered. That makes people dangerous in ways that do not involve fists. I was ready for that too. Next morning, I found the big front window at Carter Auto Repair blasted with spray paint. Wife beater in bright red letters that a driver could read from the far lane. Under it, smaller tags, cheater and liar. I called the police, filed the report, then spent the morning scraping and washing while half the town crawled by to stare. Mrs. Whitaker crossed over with a thermos and her opinion. That Derek fellow, she said, head shaking. No respect for other people's property. Could have been anyone, I said. Could have, she allowed, but it was not. I saw his car just after midnight. Rolled real slow in front of your shop. You saw Derek's car? Red Ford Mustang, she said. Loud exhaust. License plate starts with Fit. Same car that was here yesterday morning. She smiled. I may be old, Tom, but I am not blind. I called Danny and added her statement. By noon, Derek sat in a holding cell for vandalism. By evening, he was out on bail and, if I had to guess, planning the next stunt. The war was just warming up. The neighborhood block party lands on the first Saturday in June every year. Maple Street drags out grills, coolers, and the kind of forced cheer that reminds everyone why they mostly keep to themselves. This year I almost skipped it. A week like mine turns you into a celebrity, and not the kind anyone wants to be. Randy talked me into going. If you hide, they will say you are ashamed, he said, tightening a timing belt on a Ford Explorer. If you show up with your head up, you write the story. So I went. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon sharp, I walked down the block with a case of beer and my best I do not care face. The party was running hot. Kids blasting through sprinklers while adults orbited picnic tables piled with potato salad and gossip. Conversations did not stop all at once. The quiet rolled through in a wave as heads turned and elbows nudged. I nodded at the familiar and ignored the stares. I set the beer on the drinks table. Tom, said Mrs. Patterson from 3 doors down, catching my arm. How are you holding up, dear? Fine, thank you. Such a hard season, she said. If you need a home-cooked meal, or just someone to listen, you let me know. I thanked her and moved on. It was the same at every cluster. Polite words, sideways looks, and everybody reading me like a headline. The older women circled me like I was a stray dog that needed a blanket. The men gave awkward shoulder pats and mumbled about standing up for yourself. The younger crowd watched from a distance like they were waiting for fireworks. I was talking with Ben Martinez about a slipping transmission when Lauren showed up. She came alone, walking down the sidewalk in the yellow sundress I bought for our anniversary 2 years back. Hair perfect, makeup exact, smile bright enough to light the block. For a second, she looked like the woman I married, before late-night ultimatums and double lives. The party went quiet again, a different kind of hush, the kind that comes right before a brawl or a show. Lauren worked the circle like a politician. Hugs for the ladies who used to be her friends. Laughs at jokes that did not deserve them. Pretending nothing had changed. A few people swallowed it. Most did not. I stayed put, drinking my beer and watching. She has always been good at this part. Walk into any room and sell whatever version of herself she needs to sell. Not today. She slid up beside me like a ghost, perfume mixing with charcoal and cut grass. I did not expect to see you here, she said. It is my street too. Of course. I just thought, she waved at the crowd, this might be awkward. Only if you make it awkward. She gave me a real smile, small and quick. Do you remember our first block party? You were so nervous about meeting people. You made me practice small talk for an hour. I remembered. 20 years ago, when we were young and sure of the plan, before life got selfish and promises turned into stories. Things change, I said. They do not have to. She edged closer, lowering her voice. We could fix this, Tom, if we both wanted to. Fix what? Your affair? Your lies? The moment you picked another man over your husband? I chose wrong. I know that now. No, you chose what you wanted. You just do not like the bill. Her smile broke. Tom, please. People are watching. Let them. That is when Derek Lawson arrived. He came around the corner in a tank top, arms pumped, smiling like he thought the camera was already on him. A few nods. Mostly stares. He is still technically a neighbor, still technically invited, but everyone knows the score. He saw us together, and his smile grew. He walked over like he was joining friends. Tom. Lauren. He clapped a hand on my shoulder. Great party, is it not? I looked at his hand, then his face. You have 5 seconds to move that before I break it. He laughed, but he moved. Come on, man. We are adults. No need for drama. Drama, I said, setting my beer down, turning to face him. Like sleeping with another man's wife? That kind? The talk around us died out. This was the scene they had come for. That is between Lauren and me, Derek said, the smile finally slipping. It was between you and her, I said. Now it is between you and me. Tom, do not, Lauren whispered. I ignored it. Tell me, Derek, while you were meeting her in hotel rooms, did you think about the price? Your fiancé, your job, your name around town. You do not know what you are talking about. I know exactly. I pulled out my phone and opened the screenshots I took from Lauren's laptop. Want a reading? Here is one from 3 weeks ago. I cannot wait to get you alone tonight. Your husband has no idea what he is missing. Gasps. A phone came up and started recording. That is private, Lauren hissed. It was private, I said. Now it is proof. I scrolled. Here is another. He is such a loser. You deserve someone who appreciates what you bring. Derek lunged for the phone. I stepped back and kept it out of reach. Want to hear her reply? I asked the circle. Sometimes I cannot stand being in the same house with him. I cannot wait until this is over and we can be together. Silence took the street. Even the kids quit running, like they could feel the weight of it. Mascara tracked down Lauren's cheeks. Tom, stop. Please. Stop what? I asked. Telling the truth. Is this not what you wanted? I asked. Everything out where people can see it. Derek grabbed for me again, and this time I let him. I let him get his hands on me in front of about 30 neighbors. I let him make the first hard move. Then I caught his wrist, turned it just enough to draw a yelp, and guided him backward into the drinks table. Cans rolled. Ice exploded across the grass. Derek landed on his backside in a puddle of meltwater and shame. Assault, he shouted. You all saw it. Self-defense. Ben Martinez called from the edge of the crowd. He put hands on him first. Other voices chimed in, saying the same thing. It all happened in front of witnesses, and more than a few were recording. Derek scrambled up, tank top soaked, pride leaking out like a bad gasket. This is not over, he hissed. It is, I said. I looked around at the faces, neighbors who had watched my marriage come apart in real time. Everyone here knows the truth now. About both of you. About who you really are. My beer had somehow survived the wreck. I took a long drink. Enjoy the party, I said, and headed home. Behind me, the noise went off like a firecracker, everybody talking at once. By morning, every detail would be halfway across town. The video would hit Facebook inside the hour, bounce from timeline to timeline until it found every phone in Bangor. Lauren and Derek's reputations were done. I was not finished with them. The charity 5-kilometer race lands on the 4th of July every year. It pulls in the true runners, the weekend strivers, and the folks who want an excuse to wear loud stars and stripes spandex. I had never entered. Running for fun always felt like a waste of good energy. This year was different. This year I had a plan. Derek had been training since March, filling his Instagram with splits, meal prep, and a promise to break 20 minutes. It fit the brand he was trying to rebuild after the block party blowout. Lauren registered too, maybe to stand by her boyfriend, maybe to polish her own image. Either way, they gave me exactly what I needed. I signed up the morning of the race, paid my fee, and pinned a number to an old t-shirt. The start corral was chaos. 300 people stretching, hopping in place, staring at watches, and talking themselves into 3.1 miles of chosen pain. I spotted Derek at the front looking like a catalog model in pro gear. Lauren stood beside him in a matching outfit that probably cost more than some car payments. They looked picture perfect. Coordinated smiles, bright teeth, magazine posture. Too bad it was about to bend. The horn blew at 8 o'clock in the morning. I settled in and let the pack carry me. I was not chasing a ribbon. I would be lucky to finish in the bottom quarter. That was fine. The goal was simple. Be visible, be present, be exactly where I needed to be when the moment arrived. I had spent the week making calls, sending emails, and lining up meetings. All legal, all clean, all cut to land with force. Phase 1 tripped at mile 1. Kayla Brooks, once engaged to Derek, stood at the water table with a manila envelope and a look that said she had slept very well. She had been easy to work with once I laid out the plan. "Tom," she called as I came up. "Good to see you." Derek was maybe 50 yards ahead, close enough to hear when she raised her voice. Derek Lawson." He slowed, turned, and saw his ex-fiancée smiling like ice. "Kayla, what are you?" "I wanted to thank you," she said loudly, voice carrying over the runners, "for helping me dodge a bullet." She lifted the envelope. "My attorney says these photos and text messages are plenty to prove adultery. I will take the house, the car, and half your business." Derek's face went white. "What photos?" "The ones your girlfriend sent you," she said. "The ones you were foolish enough to save in your cloud. The ones I downloaded before you changed your passwords." Lauren stopped dead in the middle of the course while the flow of runners split around her. "That is impossible," she whispered. "Shared Apple identification," I called, helpful as a street sign. People forget the basics when they are busy sneaking. There were plenty of ears within range. Other runners, volunteers pouring water, photographers catching action shots, and the local news crew live streaming the event. Exactly the audience I had planned for. Derek snatched for the envelope, but Kayla Brooks stepped back out of reach. "Assault," she said, calm as a judge. "In front of witnesses. Again. You really do not learn, do you?" "This is harassment." Lauren found her voice. "You cannot just." "Cannot just what?" Kayla asked. "Share evidence of a crime?" Adultery is still on the books in Maine, even if no one bothers to charge it anymore. She tucked the manila under her arm. "And civil court?" "Civil court loves this kind of thing." Derek looked around like there might be an exit ramp hidden in the crowd. "You are all insane," he said. "This is crazy." "What is crazy?" I said, taking out my phone. "Is thinking you can wreck people's lives and never pay for it." I opened my voice recorder and hit play. Derek's voice came through clear from a call the night before. "Told you she is loaded," he said to whoever was on the other end. "The divorce settlement should be huge. We just need to be patient. Let her take her husband for everything he has got. Then we will be set." The blood drained out of Lauren's face. "You recorded us?" "Single-party consent," I said. "This state only needs one person to agree to a recording. Guess who agreed?" Derek spun on me, face twisted. "You son of a..." He threw a wild swing I saw coming from a block away. I stepped aside, let his own momentum haul him past, and clipped his ankle with my foot. He hit the pavement hard, skidding on his expensive running kit. When he rolled over, his knees were scraped and his pride was bleeding. "Assault," I said to the onlookers. "You all saw who swung first." My camera was already rolling, so we're a dozen more. Derek got up slow, limping, rage burning a hole in his face. "This is not over." "It is," I said, looking at the phones, the spectators, the live stream camera pointed right at us. "Everybody here knows what you are now. Both of you." I turned to Lauren. She stood frozen, tears carving tracks through her makeup. 22 years, I said, quiet but clear. 22 years I gave you, and you threw it away for this. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. "Enjoy your new life," I said. "What is left of it?" I jogged on, leaving them planted in the middle of the course, surrounded by witnesses, recordings, and the smoking pile of their reputations. Behind me, Kayla started explaining to anyone within earshot exactly what kind of people she had been dealing with. Her voice carried clean on the morning air, listing the lies, the selfish choices, and every step that got us here. By the time I crossed the finish line, dead last, not that it mattered, the clip was already everywhere. The local station ran it at noon. By evening it sat on 3 different social platforms with hundreds of thousands of views. Derek and Lauren were famous, just not the kind they had trained for. Friday night the naughty pine was shoulder to shoulder. Every stool taken, a bench line 3 deep, and Frank Kowalski working the taps like a maestro. I walked in at exactly 9 o'clock in the evening, wearing my best shirt and a smile that felt honest for the first time in months. The room parted a little as I moved to the bar. Voices dipped, then flared in whispers. "Tom," Frank called, already reaching for a bottle. "Man of the moment." "Just a man having a drink," I said, but the smile stuck. The 5-kilometer video had cleared 1 million views in a week. Local news, then regional, then national. Headlines kept mutating, but the one that seemed to hold was some version of "Main mechanic's cold revenge on cheating wife goes viral." Talk shows called. Marriage counselors wanted to use my story in lectures. A literary agent said there might be a book in it. I told them all no. Some stories do not need a second telling. "Heard Derek left town," Randy said, sliding in at my elbow with his own beer. "Mrs. Whitaker says he packed a U-Haul yesterday morning and rolled out without a goodbye." "And Lauren?" I asked. "Still at Brittany Wells's house, far as anyone knows. But rumor says Brittany is tired of a long-term house guest." The neighborhood wires had been humming. No shock there. Turns out people do not enjoy being lied to, even by their friends. "Think she will try to come back?" Randy asked. "To me? Not a chance," I said. "To town." I shrugged. "Where else is she going to go?" That is when the front door opened and Lauren stepped in. The bar went silent. Conversations clipped mid-syllable. Heads pivoted. Eyes locked on my soon-to-be ex-wife as she stood in the doorway like an actress taking the stage. She looked wrecked. Hair unwashed. Clothes wrinkled. Face pale and hollow. The polished, camera-ready woman I married was gone. In her place stood someone who had not slept right in a week. She spotted me and walked straight over, cutting through the stares and the whispers. "Tom," she said, no louder than a breath. "We need to talk." "No," I said. "Please. 5 minutes. That is all I am asking." I studied her for a long second. The woman who shared my bed for 22 years, who promised love and honor when we were too young to understand the weight of those words. She looked spent, like someone who finally ran out of moves. 5 minutes, I said. We took a corner table away from the bar. I could still feel every eye in the room follow us. Lauren sat across from me with her hands folded in her lap, like a student waiting on a verdict. "I am sorry," she said. "For which part?" I asked. "The affair? The lies? The late-night ultimatum? Or just getting caught?" "All of it. Everything," she said. "I was selfish and foolish. I threw away the best thing in my life for somebody who did not even care about me." I let the words hang. "Derek never loved me," she said, voice cracking. "You were right. He used me. He was waiting on the divorce money, so he could take half of everything. I was a meal ticket." "I know," I said. "I knew from the start. Men like Derek do not chase married women for love. They chase them for money and for the thrill of taking what belongs to somebody else." She stared at me, eyes wide. "Then why did you not tell me? Would you have believed me?" A long, quiet beat. "No," she said. "Probably not. I had to learn it myself. I lost everything, Tom. she whispered. My friends. My name. My marriage. Everything. I nodded. Yes, you did. Can we? She swallowed. Is there any way to fix this? To start over? I looked at her, the woman who sat at the center of my life for more than 2 decades. A small part of me wanted to say yes, to roll back time, to pretend the last 6 months never happened. But I could not. Not after the lies. Not after the betrayal. Not after the ultimatum that lit the fuse. No, I said, quiet but final. There is not. She nodded like she had expected it, but tears still spilled down her face. What am I supposed to do now? I do not know, I said. That is not my problem anymore. She stayed 1 more minute, crying while the whole bar pretended not to watch. Then she stood, walked to the door, and paused. She looked back. I did love you, she said. Whatever else happened, I did love you. I know, I said. But love was not enough, was it? She did not answer. She stepped into the night and was gone, leaving me with the ruins of 22 years. The room held its breath for half a minute. Then talk started again, soft at first, then building as people digested what they had seen. I went back to the counter. Frank Kowalski set a fresh beer in front of me. You all right? He asked. Yeah, I said, and I meant it. I am all right. Randy slid up on the other side. So what now? I thought about it. The divorce would be final in a few months. The house would sell. The assets would split. The legal cords would be cut. For the first time in more than 20 years, I would be a single man. Now I learn how to be happy, I said. Think you can do it? Randy asked. I looked around at the faces in the place I have called home most of my adult life. These people had watched me fall apart in public. They had seen the worst days and the sharp edges. And they were still here, still talking to me like I was a person, not a headline. Yeah, I said, lifting the bottle in a small toast to nobody in particular. I think I can. Outside, a soft summer rain started. The kind that rinses the streets and leaves that clean smell for morning. I finished my beer, thanked Frank and Randy, and walked home through the warm, wet air. The house was quiet when I got there. Empty in a way it had never been. But it did not feel lonely. It felt calm, like a place where I could finally rest. I sat on the front porch and watched the rain. I thought about everything that led here. The affair, the showdowns, the public shame, the cold, careful payback that ate up my weeks. It was over now. Lauren was gone. Derek was gone. I was alone with the fallout from choices made by people who were not as sharp as they thought. Tomorrow I would start figuring out the rest. Tonight I was fine with the rain and the quiet. For the first time in months, I could breathe.